Hello, everybody. If there is anybody in the chat and you can hear me, please let me know. It would be nice to know. And in the meantime, I'm gonna try and get camera to work, which doesn't seem to be something it wants to do. Okay, got a reaction out of it. Nice, thank Dart. Okay, camera seems to work now. While it is wireless, now let's make it wired so that audio and video look somewhat in sync. Okay. Currently not connected. Good job. Come on, connect. The issues of me having a janky setup. Currently my face looks like this. Come on. Ah. Connector is a tiny bit broken, so it doesn't sometimes want to connect. And now my face should appear. There it is. My face. Okay. And since I can hear myself, I don't need this anymore. So we can begin, shall we? First of all, I'd like to say hello to everybody and welcome to another live stream by Primoz Big Pot. Primoz aka Big Pot. I'm still trying to change that a bit so it will actually sound good. But yeah, let's begin. Hello everybody, my name is Primoz aka Big Pot, and in today's stream we're going to be checking out Silverblue, ublue, distrobox, and other things in my setup that I use to make my desktop what it is, to make it safe, almost unbreakable, and work for me. So let's begin, shall we? So first off, what am I even using for a desktop? I'm using image for Fedora Silverblue called ublue bluefin. A link in the description down below for GitHub and webpage ublue.it, where you can find everything you want about ublueOS. Of course, I should probably at this point preface with the fact that I am part of the team, so I am somewhat really biased, but what can you do? I think it's awesome. That's why I'm part of the team. So let's begin, shall we? So I first need to ensure that everything is properly on proper screens. Then we can talk about what I'm doing. Wow, bunch of notifications right in the middle of stream. How smart of me to not enable do not disturb. So if you have during the stream, if you have any questions about my setup, how I do things, so on and so on and so on, uh, ask in the chat, or I think over there or there. Let's hope it's on there. And if I see, I'll try to answer. If I see like there is so much activity in my chat, I wouldn't be able to see. So let's begin. Did I say that like fourth, fifth time? Let's begin. Could be. So who's in the chat today? Don't be afraid to engage. And whoever liked, thank you for the like. Highly appreciated. Okay. If you see any problems with stuff like my audio, my video, let me know and I'll try to correct them. Try being the operating word. Now, let's see in what kind of trouble we can get while I explain my things. Uh, think of distrobox as... Oh, first, let me read the question. Darth Vader asks, I've never used distrobox before. What's really the main purpose of it? So, think of it this way. You can have multiple environments that run different distros, completely different, maybe distros, or could be the same distro, but you can have completely separate environments, separate file system, separate networking. But there is enough of your system connected into it that you have your own user, you have your own home directory, and everything like that. So you can have a semi-separate environment. A great use of that is during a program that has support on Ubuntu, or in a program that is only really on Ubuntu. But I don't want to faff with it on Fedora. Distrobox create dash image Ubuntu latest. And then you have apt. Do you know a program that has easy installation in AUR? Distrobox create dash image Arch Linux. And you have a full Arch Linux environment. You can go as far as to use GUI applications solely from distroboxes, not even use Flatpak or natively installed programs to accomplish this kind of separation. It's using technology called Linux namespacing, and other types of namespacings come from that sort of world. It's using what is known as OCI containerization. So most people, as soon as you hear things like containerization, they automatically want to either jump off the roof or yell, I don't want containers. Why? They say things like it's not native. It is. To the kernel, it's just native as your natively installed program with a native package manager. Why? Because it's actually just a different namespace. This is what so-called OCI containers, or as people used to call them, Docker containers, do. They create a new namespace in kernel namespace and run stuff there, just as close to kernel as your own namespace. Except it has its own rootfs, which is what really defines a distro, a rootf. So you can use apt, you can use whichever package manager you want. And what's great, distrobox isn't just for Fedora Silverblue. You can use distrobox on anything you want. Now, I remember one person calling distrobox WSL on Linux. It's not really, but yeah, you can run any Linux environment you want, whether it be Fedora, Ubuntu, you name it, just like you can with WSL on Windows. And they work pretty similarly, actually. It's a win-win, really. Now, I use distrobox to have an environment, like a mutable environment in my read-only immutable distro. Yes and no. People like to call containers application virtual machines, which is completely incorrect. Virtual machine virtualizes the whole stack, so from hardware up, while a container takes a kernel feature called namespacing and essentially cuts up the kernel. Kernel basically cuts itself up into multiple completely separate, completely not connected pieces. It creates a new networking stack. It creates a new file system stack. You have separate processes if you want, and basically takes that and just the completely separate environment above the kernel to your environment, to the one you run your systemd and everything above that. You can actually run systemd in that separate environment as well. And to it will be all like it's a single environment. There is no other environment there. But since in your main environment you have tools that have access to certain kernel features that other environments don't, you can jump from an environment to environment and see what in that environment is happening, see what in that environment is happening, edit stuff, do other stuff. And what's great, because things like sockets can be moved or can be passed through another container through mounting, something you cannot do on VM, you can basically go, okay, I want to start a, I don't know, Firefox in this container, in this environment, but I want the window to draw on my monitor. That is done. That's how distrobox works. That's at the end of the day, that's how both snaps and flatpaks work. And snaps and flatpaks fundamentally use same technologies, just in a different way, much more nicer to the user actually. This is pretty, how to say this, pretty more targeted at a, how to say this, more targeted at a server market, but adopted for desktop usage. While on the other hand, Flatpak is from ground up made to be for the desktop. And let's check out distrobox in action. I'm gonna have a better video on what distrobox is and some cool stuff about distrobox. So watch for that in the coming weeks on my channel. Let's check out my terminal. Hopefully it's the enough big. The letters, let's make it slightly bigger. And let's create a distro box of Fedora. You lost my ugly mug. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Let's create a distro box of Fedora. Distrobox dash create dash image Fedora dash minimal latest. Let's name it Stream 1. It will pull Fedora from registryfedora.org, and now with a simple distro box enter Stream 1, it will start up this container, install all the required packages for it to actually be able to interact with things, and all the cool stuff that enable it to be basically working the way it's supposed to work, and that can take some time, as you see. In a future video, we're gonna take a look at how to make this basically do like this. And as you can see with the name, we are in a separate environment. I still have my home directory, which let's not look at it. I don't know what is in there. Let's go to slash. But what if we installed something? DNF5 install a file manager, for example, Kacha. It will now DNF5 works exactly like DNF5 works on your Fedora 38. Of course, on Fedora 38, normally gonna have DNF still, but on Fedora 39, you're gonna have DNF version 5. We're gonna do yes, and let's wait for it to actually install. I think that's all that actually is required. 236 packages, yes? That's a lot, but it's the whole X stack that's needed. And stack for Pipewire, actually. Now let's run. Oh, forgot to do a sudo. Yes, you need to do a sudo because your user is loaded into it. Thanks to distrobox. If you have any other questions, comments, suggestions, let me know in the chat there or there. And thank you for another like, whoever liked. Now we're gonna do Kacha. And look, it's Kacha. Oh, and it's my home directory. Thanks, there is nothing horrible there. Who don't know what crazy stuff I could have here. Add.python, what is this? Of course, nothing will happen because there is no code editor note-taking application there. Oh, hello, Hibdat. If you have any questions about Silverblue, ublue, distrobox, OCI containerization in general, let me know and I'll try to answer them while we explore how I use ublue and distrobox to have more freedom than ever than any other distro you could have. Really, let me try and increase a bit. Okay, hey Joshua. Okay, this is the max my system currently supports. Maybe if I also, it shouldn't be that bad. If you hear any background sounds, let me know. I'm gonna try and filter it out then. But yeah, so this is Kacha running in a simple distrobox container. But that's not how we use distrobox. I make bespoke distrobox containers for different things. For example, I need to run something like Zoom. I could install Zoom with a package. I could install Zoom like a Flatpak. But oh no, Zoom doesn't work. What to do? I know. Install Zoom as a container. That works. Well, looks like Joshua needs to fix it. Yes, I actually have a bespoke container to run Zoom. Let's try and make it happen. First off, does typing Zoom work? No. Why is that? Let's look at distrobox list. There is no distrobox. Of course there is no distrobox since we aren't in our main environment. We have to exit from this one. Distrobox list. There's only stream 1 environment we created before. I could pull down a new image with Zoom already installed, but I think I'm not logged in into my registry, which could make me trying to get a registry login quite fun. Let's be honest, but I don't need it to happen. Let's just see if my registry works. Yes, I have my own registry. Because who doesn't in today's world? Okay, so let's see. Really, Joshua, you don't have a registry? Why? You should. It's like having your own repository for packages, except a lot better. Oh, we could also look at how I do my development environment. That would be easier to show. It would still require me to do some logging in, but not as much as for that. Different registry. That's the problem. I have multiple registries. I haven't yet moved that to the proper one. That's the problem. Joshua, let me give you a link, or we can show it here. Registry to Docker. This is the page of all you need. This is the command. Of course, you would want to make it proper, so you have an SSL certificate of that. That's actually all little instruction, deploy a registry server here, all the proper things to do. But it's literally a single web page of instructions and can be a single command. Yay, I just doxed myself. For those who don't know, that was a API token. But thankfully, I never used it. So let me delete it right now. Yeah, I am going to create a new token then again. Yes, I have to use API tokens. And just to make sure that I don't dox myself again, let's go to this view. and I'm gonna log in. Yes, you can use exactly the same command in Podman and substitute Docker with Podman, and it's exactly the same repository. It's because they're both using OCI compliant images, and registry 2 is just the most popular spec for said OCI image registry. Okay, login successful. I'm gonna clear the screen and let's go. Okay, the reason I have to log in because these are private images, supposedly inaccessible to public. Supposedly. So let's take my Python environment, right? Yeah, let's take my Python environment. It's a pretty basic environment. If we actually check out the code right here, look, this is the code. This is a Docker file or a container file, depending on which nomenclature you use. It builds a standard Podman container, Docker container, or more correctly, an standard OCI container. It's pretty simple. It bases upon my ghcr.io image for distroboxes, based on Fedora. I'm using Fedora Minimal 38 with and this image is called standard env because it's standard environment I use. It has very basic things like installs Python 3 and changes shell to bash to fish, and echoes their env hook fish into config.fish file. The reason I do that is so I can actually have their env working, which is part of my standard environment. So something like this image I can actually pull down. I have it working. I have it set up in two modes normally. Either of two modes. I have it set up in distrobox mode, which I call distrobox mode, which is also has VS Code. So that would be another command I would have to do, or another two commands, I believe I have, where it pulls down, also during the build, pulls down the VS Code and deploys it, or this, where it does all the good stuff where there is no VS Code in there. So if we actually run this one, let me copy the proper command for it because, well, it's long. This would be without VS Code. I have to find in the interface where it is, this one with the latest image. It's only 300 megabytes in size. And we do podman run it to get the, how it's called, to get interactive environment, which should open up fish dash entry point. No, entry point doesn't actually need to be there. That's an old version, for old version. And then all we need to do is give it a directory to mount for my source files. This would be -v slash source /source, and because it is podman -z or :z, and because I didn't have a sudo mkdir /source, and let me ensure I don't do nothing wrong. It's an immutable root fs. What am I doing creating in slash? This will be slash var slash. But source stream sudo mkdir sudo chmod own bigpot bigpot slash var slash source stream dot all. And at that point we can run this command. This runs podman as my user. It will pull down this image and all its infinite number of layers, 6 of them. Okay, yeah, I'm genius. And welcome to Fish. It's the environment we created with Fish. Now, how are you do editing? You can do that here. Now, if you edit your code using Nano, Vim, that works completely basically. But if you use something like VS Code, in this version, code doesn't work. What do? I use this little thing called VS Code Remote. Using Remote Explorer, I have it set up for it to connect to Podman instead of Docker. And I have this image, registry.bigpod.sc, and the name should be int Euler, which should be correct. We can actually inspect it, and we're gonna see that it's ID, if we can find it. ID 1647 should be equal to this 1647. It is. Good. Now all we do is we're going to click here. Got it. And we'll start a new window. We'll start something called dev containers. And it says something is wrong. But it did connect. Huh. Cool. It works. How do we know it works? Simple. Container. And if you want to see that it actually works, slash no, but it doesn't. Huh. This is strange. It says connected to remote, but it isn't. That is strange. Open folder. That should... Oh, something is wrong. Never done that before. Console, okay. SE Linux shouldn't be a problem, at least it wasn't normally. But I did do some reworking on many things in my system, so there could be weird stuff. No, DNS, it's actually locally, so DNS is a problem. Initial connection. I don't know. Been 2 days since I used this stuff. No, it's not idiot. That's not the case in this case. Could not fetch remote environment. Close remote connection. There is also a way of attach new window, attach to container. Either of these should work. It's been I also did update this, so I could have broken something myself. Wouldn't be first time. But there is something I could do. Huh. Because it does attach itself correctly, as you can see. It's only for read only. This is weird. I'm gonna be honest. But it's been a few days, so I don't know what it broke. Could be misconfiguration of something. The genius in me broke something. Yay. Let's see. I wanna... Yeah, it's WebSocket status code. Let's try something different. Close remote. This should have shut down the container. If you respect it, let's look at... It should be of some status exit. Correct. Now, I'm gonna do this on a fresh container, on a bad container. Bad. Looks like something isn't downloading correctly. My guess. Never happened to me before, so something I'll have to learn. Some sort of WebSocket error. Error. Maybe if I look at the logs, new terminal, problems, output, remote, not tunnel. Main, okay, main, no. Yeah. Let's try this again. This time, show log. It didn't show logs. I don't know. Well, looks like today doesn't work. What can I do? With one, I'm gonna take a drink. I'm a bit parched. So have fun looking at, I don't know, be right back sign. So I'm back. Now, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know, because I do have a suggestion for myself. Text these things beforehand, because this makes really stupid streams. Thank you. Complete noted. So again, let's talk about ublue, specifically bluefin image I'm using. So, well, this is a very, very non interesting screen right now because it's my secondary monitor. But if we do a bit of a magic, first we're gonna have to do a bit of a camera so I can move these things around. Well, if you want to be a professional streamer, or at least appear to be a professional streamer, you probably should. That's the hint. Now, all I need to do is point my second monitor. I don't actually have a scene for this monitor, so I have to create it. I'm trying, or this, I'm pretending to be one currently. Because guess what? I don't have a job, so I have to do something. And streaming seems like a good idea. Oh yeah, if your company is looking for a cloud engineer or cloud specialist or DevOps specialist, DevOps engineer, I'm looking for a job. And would love to work with you. Really need a Windows guy. I also understand Windows, let's be clear. But you probably don't hire in Europe. That's the catch. I only work remote, and you need to be from, you need to hire in Europe. Those are two main for me. Okay, one more. I need to double this one. Composite desktop 2. Okay. So yeah, if you're any other person than Joshua, yeah, let me know. For those of you who do not know me, I do have experience. I used to work at a cloud native startup in the container space. So I do have some knowledge of containers and all that stuff. Yeah, I did a Docker thing, yes. So I am sort of an expert on Docker stuff, on OCI containerization. So I'm also something of an expert on cloud. So that's why I'm looking in the cloud area right now. AWS, Azure, GCP, that sort of thing. And if you're moving your workloads to cloud, I might be able to help you engineer a solution. I need a job, simply speaking. What to give you advice on system administration? Learn infrastructure as code, learn Bash, learn Python. Learn a lot of things. Learn Linux, learn Windows Server. Ironically, still popular. Well, I know why. Active Directory. And learn cloud. Because as much as system administration is supposed to be local, you in a data center, that's not the case anymore. It's just as much cloud as it is local. And at the end of the day, your local data center is private cloud. So same principles apply. But yes, what Joshua said, start a home lab and learn through that. Use Terraform, use Pulumi, use write everything in Ansible, Docker, KVM. Use something like Proxmox. If you can get your hands on VMware, whatever their product is called now. Get to know server operating systems. CentOS or Rocky Linux or whichever fun version of that is the flavor of the day today. Ubuntu server, still the most popular server. Learn all of that. Learn as much as possible. Set up your own Kubernetes cluster. Do that as well. You're gonna learn more about having doing stuff like that is by setting up a Kubernetes cluster. That thing can be pretty complex to set up. That will get you there. You'll get you a lot of knowledge. DNS, of course. Who doesn't like DNS? I have my own DNS. Nginx. Nginx, traffic, any learn or try, deploy it on your own system. Set it up so it works. Get a couple of services. I don't know. Get a couple of services you use you want to use on a regular basis. Maybe if they have a public version you use, the one that is on the internet, think GitLab, deploy it on your own system, then set up all the technologies around it, set it up using Terraform, Pulumi, whichever one you go for, and then swap pieces out and replace things, play around, and break things. You learn more from breaking than you do from not breaking. That's the fun part. That's the reason SpaceX rocket went kaboom. Because you learn from failure more than you learn from success. Of course, they don't have to deal with FAA. But they would have to either way because it would technically be all still a failure of this test, but not the test campaign. Huge difference. Now, if we return to our Silverblue, ublue discussion, if you have any more questions like that and comments, suggestions, let me know in the chat over there. Yeah, over there. I think so, over there. And I'll answer them. And it looks like Joshua will help me in the chat as well. Now, transition. Yes, transition. So this is my desktop. As you can all see, it's GNOME. GNOME 41, something like that. It's very basic GNOME 41. It's all I have is dash to dock at the bottom here. So I can have this nicely, and here you can see all the bunch of my environments I set up in the recent days, and I haven't yet cleaned up. 44? Could be 44, I don't know. I don't keep up on the versions of GNOME. I just run them. It's 44.1. I only use DEs. I don't bother with VMs. Too much to set up. Even if I go and set up my own image, which I would have to do, I just wouldn't bother. too much to work. And now that I'm most of the time Wayland only, I'd have to set up a Wayland compiler like Hyperland. No, thank you. I want my things to work. That's kind of my point. That's why I use Silverblue, because I want it to work. And this thing works. Update is essentially a single command that just takes an image, pulls the rug from under these images and places another one under it. And all I have to do is reboot. Joshua. Then run rawhide. It will break for you all the time. Have fun. Now let's do an update. Sudo rpm os3 upgrade with the password we're gonna have to type right now. But that i3 work on Wayland, and I don't want a tiling window manager. That's first of all, that's stupid. Sorry, tiling never made sense to me. Tiling window managers. I have this for a reason. My mouse. I have it for a reason. It is to interact with screens and windows and to move windows around because, you know, for example, this stream I manage from a single monitor. I have my preview from YouTube. I have my preview and PGM on OBS with all the settings available, and on the side I still have my chat, because what I have is I have browser in the background and OBS in the foreground. In front of it, in the window that's smaller. Try doing that on a tiler. Ain't gonna work. Waste of space. Why bother? Why bother when most of computing experiences today are made to be used with a mouse or on something like this thing to touch, because this thing has a touch screen. This thing runs GNOME as well. I put it like this. Here we go. I can type on it, I can touch the screen. It's made for floating stuff, not for tiling. I used one workspace, or whatever GNOME calls it. I use one. I don't need any more, honestly. All you need is one screen. Plop all the windows onto it, and then just swap them around when you need to, or because you are like me. Most windows are actually not full size, except full screen windows like games and videos. But then look at how update happens. I press enter now, and now it's gonna pull down layers. Yeah, my workflow is made around one workspace. most of the time window isn't the size of full screen, or even of a specific size that I could control easily. Kernel. Yay, kernel builds. Been a while since I built my own kernel. Tiling window managers never made sense to me. Honestly. Too much hassle. Especially now with these sort of devices being prevalent. The kinds with touchscreens and 15-inch screens and stuff like that, where literally the tiler makes you lose space, not gain space. I don't know. But that's my opinion. You could be of different opinion. Yay! I'm again parched. Good thing we have BRB screens. Oh look, it's doing post scripts. After downloading layers, it's pretty quick. Because I have no packages layered on this ublue install, since I use my own custom image, I don't have to layer. I have to install separate layered programs. Now all it will do is stage, and because this is an update from yesterday or from a couple of hours ago, and last time I updated was yesterday, I only get 3 changes. But sometimes when I take days to update, or days to reboot really, because updates normally happen in the background for me, all I get is, sometimes I get like 20, 50 programs updated. All I would now need to do is do systemctl reboot or reboot, and my system would reboot. And with that, everything would be installed, updated, and if I want to make any changes to my system, all I do is go to GitHub and open up my repository for my system I call it Alpha, BigPod SB Alpha, where I just change the container file. Let's look at the container file itself. Why don't we? See what everything that I have installed. Post what is the bluefin image, which is what I use as a base. Again, it's just an OS3 image. At the very base, it's just an OS3 image. OS3. This is not an OS3 image. It's an OCI image. OS3 would make. It's what used to be used. Now, all we need to do is, I don't know, I want to install a different program. Let's say Kaja. All I do is type Kaja here, or create a new run stanza, type Kaja, rpm install Kaja, and push the change, commit it, and then my action would run, the build BigPod action, fun name, which has 4 jobs for a main with 37, which I'm soon gonna deprecate since no system of mine uses 37, for a main 38. This is for your AMDs and your Intel GPUs. My laptop uses Intel. And then I have an NVIDIA version of both of those for my desktop and my other laptop. And when build runs, once it finishes, it pushes to GCHR, which is a repository by GitHub. It is amazing. It has lots of layers, this image, but after it runs, it is done. And I have 90 days worth of backfill updates if I need to go to a version back or even 10 versions back. I can point to a different SHA value and I have a different version of operating system. Example, Alpha NVIDIA. We have 37 and 38, but all the SHA values. Currently we have it for about 2 months. I'm not yet at 90 day. Haven't been using Alpha for that long. Alpha is pretty new, just 2 months old. But the environment I'm basing on, Bluefin, actually might be that old. Actually it's not, because George switched a bit things around, so it's not as new as before. So this is my operating system. It's an image. All I have to do is a few little things and I'm done. And yet it isn't as convenient as doing sudo dnf install, I don't know, Kaja, but it's much safer, much better. Things don't crash on me. And Joshua didn't come back because his kernel didn't work correctly. That doesn't happen to me. Why? Even if I would replace kernel for some other kernel, which I'm not crazy enough to do, what would happen is nothing. It would go and not build, or actually have tests running on one of my systems in a VM. That test wouldn't build, that image would get booted off. Yay! Stuff properly working. Things like Steam removing GNOME, that's not a thing here. If Steam removes GNOME, something is wrong and build doesn't succeed and you do not get updated to the broken version. That happened to me when I was, not that exact thing, that happened to Linus on Pop! OS. For me, it happened with Mesa Free World. Yeah, that problem. It was a huge pain in the switch from 38 or 37 to 38. I didn't get updates. Sure. But my system worked. If I did an update and Mesa Free World messed my system, I would have to reinstall. Here I just didn't get an update. Simple as that. So if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, let me know in the chat down on that side, I think, or that side, depending on how my camera is turned. And I'm going to try and answer them. And yes, those you who see, I have cockpit. Yes, I have cockpit on my system. Now, let's see if I have forgotten something. No, actually I haven't. I think this is the whole stream I was planning to do. If you have any more questions, comments, suggestions, let me know in the chat and I'll try and answer them. Joshua, are you back? Or is your system still broken? And again, for everybody, if you have any questions about my setup, technology, in general, rockets, chat is over there and you can ask me anytime during the stream. I would love to interact with you guys in that way. Let's see if there'll be any more questions in the next minute or so, or next few minutes. Thinking big pot. Time. It appears there is no questions, comments, suggestions for me. And since this stream has been going for an hour and 10 minutes, let's then wrap it up, right? First, what we're gonna be doing in the next stream, I'll be writing some code, and it won't be C#. It will be Python, probably. I don't know yet what exactly I'll be doing. I'm probably gonna think of an idea we could write, or I could write and you could watch and be bored. And you guys will hopefully come and join me and be bored by my horrible professional streaming capabilities. And next thing should happen probably this week, during the weekend. About this time again. This is kind of a great time for me. So I guess at this point all I can say is thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget, I don't really know what to say. So yeah, thank you. If my microphone arm would stop moving, that would be good. So thanks everybody. Goodbye. Where is the stream is ending button? There it is. Transition.